In this clip, we're going to be looking at histograms. A histogram is very much like a frequency diagram, apart from three main differences. The class intervals are often not equal. The vertical axis is labelled frequency density rather than frequency. And it is the area of the bars rather than the height of them which matters. So this is what a frequency diagram looks like, and this is what a histogram looks like. Notice frequency compared to frequency density, and here all of the bars are the same width, whereas here some are thick and some are thin. Let's look at our histogram in more detail. We already know that it's the area of the bars that matters. Now the area of the bar actually represents the frequency. So how do we find this frequency? Well, that's really the question. How do we find the area of the rectangle? And we know that's the width times the length. Now the width here is the class width, and the length is the frequency density. So multiplying these together gives me the area, which is the frequency. This gives us a formula, but it's not really in the right format for us because usually we'll be trying to actually calculate the frequency density. So I'm going to rearrange this. The frequency density must be the frequency divided by the class width. This is the formula that we use when drawing a histogram. You need to make sure that you memorise this formula. So here's a typical exam question now. I'm being asked to draw a histogram to show this data. So the first thing I need to do is work out my frequency densities. So I'm going to put an extra column on my table, FD for frequency density. Remember, the frequency density is the frequency which I have here divided by the class width. The class width on the first one is 15, so I'm going to divide this by 15. Here it's 5, so I'm going to divide by 5. Here it's 5. Here it's 10. On this one it's 5. And on this one it's 10. I work these out with a calculator, and I get these answers. I now need to label the scale on the frequency density axis. I can see that my highest number here is 1, so I need to go up to 1, and I've got 10 squares. So this is going to be 1, and I'm going to go up in 0.1s. Once I've done this, I'm ready to draw my bars. My first bar goes from 0 to 15, so that's to here, and it has a frequency density of 0.4, so it looks like this. My next bar goes from 15 to 20 with a height of 1. The next one goes from 20 to 25 with a height of 0.8. Next one from 25 to 35 with a height of 0.6. Next one from 35 to 40 with a height of 0.8. And the last one from 40 to 50 with a height of 0.2. Obviously, in an exam you need to use a ruler, so I'm just going to tidy this up. So this is my completed histogram. Here's a question for you to try now. You'll need to copy the axes onto some squared paper. Press pause and have a go. When you're ready, press play. This is what your finished histogram should look like. This is a slightly different type of exam-style question, where I've got to use part of my histogram to complete my table, and part of my table to complete the histogram. So, starting with part A, it says use the information in the histogram to complete the frequency table. I've got two missing numbers here, and I can see that they correspond to these two bars. But I don't know the frequency density of these two bars because there's no scale here. So I need to work that out, and I do that using one of the bars that I've got the information in the table for. So I can see here that the class width is 5, so the frequency density must be 24 divided by 5, and 24 divided by 5 is 4.8. So I know that this here is 4.8. Now I can see I've got there in 4 squares, so each square must be 1.2. So this is 1.2, 2.4, 3.6, 4.8, this will be 6.0, the next one's going to be 7.2, and this one is 8.4. Now to get this missing answer here, I need to find the area of this bar here. So I can see that the width is 10 because it's between 10 and 20, and I know that the height now is 3.6. 10 times 3.6 is 36, so this is this answer here. I do this one in a similar way. So I can see that the width is between 20 and 40, so that's 20. The height is 1.2, and 20 times 1.2 is 24, so that's this answer. So I've now completed the frequency table. Now for part B, I need to use the information in the table to complete the histogram. There's only one bar missing on the histogram, that's the last one. So I need to work out the frequency density for this. The class width is 10, so it's 6 divided by 10, which is 0.6. So I need a bar in between 40 and 50 with a height of 0.6. Now remember, this is 1.2, so 0.6 is going to be exactly half of this. So my bar will look like this. If I tidy this up, my finished histogram looks like this. Here's one for you to try. You'll need to copy the histogram onto some graph paper. Press pause and have a go. When you're ready, press play. Here are the answers.